Top 5 treatments for deep bite in children that you might not be using yet, or maybe you already are. My friend Giraffe Maria and I will be with you today in this YouTube video to talk about treatments for deep bite in children, a topic I absolutely love discussing. I love seeing doctors who use scientific knowledge to make a real difference in their patients' lives. And that's why, my dears, I'm recording this video, which didn't exist on this channel until now. So, welcome. Giraffe will be here with us, so let's get started with our first appliances. First of all, before we get started, I want to invite you and everyone watching, whether you're new to this channel or not so new, to give this video a like. So go ahead and leave a like, because that helps the video reach more people. And also, subscribe to the channel to get updates on upcoming videos, because we have new videos every week here on this channel, okay? If you're here, you probably have a patient with an overbite, right? So, I have a... There we go, again. You who are here most likely have a patient with an overbite, and it's very common to have patients with overbite, especially in primary dentition. And the big question from doctors, from the professionals who write to me is, Professor Rai, how do I treat overbite in primary dentition? And what I have to tell you, the first thing is, not all overbites in children necessarily need to be treated. There are cases of overbite that are just a dental overbite, where there is no deficiency, no wear of the dental structure, no injury to the mucosa, and no horizontal growth pattern. So, in cases where the patient is balanced and only has an overbite, maybe it's not necessary to treat this patient. Why is that, my dears? When we evaluate this trend in growth and dental development, we see that deep bite increases in the deciduous and mixed dentition because we lose vertical dimension during tooth exchange when baby teeth are replaced by permanent teeth. Now, when we have the eruption of the second molars, especially, there is a natural lifting of the occlusion, and naturally, this overbite improves. That's why, in cases that aren't so severe, we don't treat them. So, I'm going to show you this chart specifically, which is a chart I recommend you go ahead and take a screenshot of. What do we have here? Dental overbite, and then I have the severe kind, like the case I treat. And skeletal overbite, where every skeletal overbite is severe. So, in these cases, I do treat them, okay? So, it's important for everyone to know, does this deep bite need to be treated or not? Can I just let the patient grow? So, what are the signs that treatment is needed? A short-faced patient, a patient with wear on the incisors, lesions on the mucosa, and other features that show the patient is no longer healthy. Those are cases that need to be treated. So, in these cases, I want to share in this video the top 5 treatments for overbite in children that you're going to love learning about, okay? The first treatment for overbite in children is a device that I don't like. People always ask me, Professor Rai, do you use trainers? Professor Rai, what do you think about meal brace? What do you think about trainers? And my opinion is very clear. Trainers work, but individualized devices are better. Trainers usually end up having a much longer usage period, and preventive, interceptive devices that are custom-made for each patient are more efficient. Trainers are more uncomfortable than conventional appliances. It's much easier to lose the cooperation of a child using trainers than a child using a customized device, which is smaller. That's the reason I don't use trainers in my clinical practice. I don't like them. To me, they're expensive. I prefer to work with appliances that are made specifically for the patient's mouth. And I also don't recommend my students use them because I've had very limited results with trainers. So, it's not that I've never used them. I have used them, but I've already compared them with interceptive appliances, and who comes out on top? It's the interceptive appliances. Now the brands want the haters to start up, those who love trainers. If you like them, that's fine. There's no problem. You can keep using them. No problem. Okay, keep using yours and I'll keep using mine. For me, interceptive appliances are superior, but there is one indication that trainers do something that interceptive appliances can't do. So, this situation involves cases where I need a relative intrusion of the upper incisors. So, when a patient has a gummy smile, when the patient shows too much gum, when the patient needs contact with the silicone material, with the trainer, that causes a relative intrusion over time, even improving the patient's gummy smile a bit. So, here in the case of overbite, we saw that the problem was the extrusion of the incisors, that it wasn't necessary to extrude the posteriors if you use the trainer, and here it improves. What's the problem? Relapse. So, what happens is that you have to use it at night to make sure there is no relapse. What happens is that most patients stop cooperating before that. Now I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't need to talk about this here on YouTube, but I don't want you to fall for advertising from a company that cares more about money than about you. So, I'd rather be very honest, very transparent, and say that the scientific evidence does not show any superiority of trainers when it comes to treating overbite or trainers compared to any other treatment. There are even improvements in airways in Class 2 cases, but trainers are not superior, so they end up just being a treatment option, a therapeutic option from a big company, and this company ends up making a lot of claims that don't have much scientific proof. So honestly, I'm not telling you not to use them, but I'm telling you to be more critical and not be fooled by effects that really don't cure anything, okay? So I'm here giving you this message because I want you to do your work well, okay? The second top treatment would be anterior bite turbos. Anterior bite turbos are like jewelry among appliances for deep bite because most patients with deep bite also have a deficiency in the lower third of the face. So, when we use these bite turbos, it's a big achievement because posterior teeth end up without contact and start to extrude. The best stage to use bite turbos in children is not during the deciduous stage. In this patient, for example, they're in the deciduous stage because patient was grinding their teeth, fracturing their incisors. But it's not ideal because deciduous teeth experience a very, very, very slight, very minimal extrusion. The best time to use bite turbos, actually, is during the second period of the mixed dentition, when the premolars are erupting, because that ends up stimulating the growth and development of the entire posterior complex, the whole alveolar part of the patient, and helps improve the overbite and the lower third. So this would be the best time. An excellent appliance that doesn't fracture, an appliance that works very well and can be used for as long as needed until the overbite is corrected. Top 3 appliances. Here our giraffe is supporting us. Yes, let's go together. Top 3, the appliance that is a removable plate with a bite razor. So, it would be the removable version of appliance number 2. Oh, Professor Rai, why would I use a removable appliance? That's actually quite useful for doctors who don't use fixed appliances. So, sometimes you haven't taken a course to learn how to adapt bands. For example, in the Intercept Diploma course in Module 4, you already learned the step-by-step process of how to adapt and transfer to make any type of appliance with bands. But maybe you didn't you're watching this video now, and you want to apply it. You can make this removable appliance with a bite razor, and it will work well. The only problem, you have to rely on the patient's cooperation. And every time we have to depend on the patient's cooperation, it's a problem. So that's something to consider. It ends up being interesting when you're at the stage where you're at the end of the mixed dentition and almost starting the beginning of the permanent dentition. When some premolars are finishing erupting and you already want to start treating something, but you still can't place brackets, maybe this plate with a bite razor could be interesting, okay? And now we move on to our 4th treatment for overbite, which to me is also a wonderful little piece of jewelry, the 4x2 appliance, with or without the lip bumper. So, how is the 4x2 used for overbite treatment? What's going on? Many times, the incisors are flared and protruded. This means there isn't proper contact between the overjet and overbite, and we end up with an overbite as a consequence of the balance of these inclinations. So, when I use the 4x2, the tendency is for these incisors to retrocline, returning to their original position, and I can work with the 4x2 on both the upper and lower arches, or just use it on the upper arch. And if the patient has a lip-sucking habit, I can use a lip bumper. So, once I achieve the retroclination of these incisors, I also improve the patient's overbite by closing these diastemas and improving the inclinations. That's why it's a treatment that works very well, and it doesn't depend on patient cooperation. With the 4x2 and bumper, we can use a fixed or removable option. It's very important that the 4x2 is a quick treatment, straight to the point, so that there are no remnants from the mixed dentition phase left over into the permanent dentition. The removal of this 4x2 should be done very efficiently using a multi-laminated burr and then the necessary rubber polishers with irrigation and then polishing paste so that there are no traces or any impact on the dental enamel. But if everything looks good, if you see radiographically, you can use the 4x2 technique as long as you follow the proper sequence of arch wires and TP treatment to a maximum of 6 months. Okay. And finally, but not least, a treatment that I really love, which is treatment with mandibular propulsors. This treatment is specifically for overbite. It should be used when the patient, in addition to the overbite, also has a severe skeletal class 2. So it's a treatment that's widely used for these cases. In this case, we have an Anderson activator, which is my all-time favorite mandibular propulsor. I really like it because it's a device that is supported by the upper arch. It doesn't make the patient uncomfortable. You can activate the transverse, you can have retention hooks, and a labial bow. So, out of all the propulsor devices, it's a very complete one. But if in your country the bionator or clamps are used more, you can also use those other devices. But in theory, the activator, the bionator, and the twin block are the best for overbite because they have this posterior acrylic where the monthly grinding is done. So, every time the patient comes in, that grinding is done, and that way the premolars erupt, following Harvard's principle of differential eruption. So it works great to correct two things at once, the overbite and also class 2. So it works really well, really well. Who here is my student? You already know about my passion for this appliance, even within the Intercept Diploma course. I coordinate the Intercept Diploma, an online course in preventive interceptive orthodontics that has changed the lives of over 4,000 doctors throughout Latin America. We now have the Intercept Diploma available in English. So it has already changed the lives of many doctors as well who are in English-speaking countries. It's a way for doctors to get trained to master interceptive orthodontics and to attract and treat those patients who are sometimes already in your practice, but you're not treating them, you're referring them out here and there and so on. If you're interested in joining the next group for the Intercept Diploma, just put your name on the waiting list that I'll leave right below this video. And when we have information, the team will get in touch with you to give you special attention. So, inside the diploma program, we have all the detailed protocols, including treatment for open bite, class 3, Class 2, digital cephalometry, and everything you need from basic to advanced. I hope you all enjoyed these top 5 treatments for overbite. These are treatments we use quite a lot in our daily practice, very interesting treatments that will be individualized depending on how your case is, okay? I'm going to leave you with the challenge to try at least one of these treatments. Alright, so you can start gaining more clinical experience. Thank you very much for your attention and for being here with me. Go ahead and leave a comment about which appliance you'd like to try or which treatment you've already used. Did you get good results or not? Post it here so we can discuss. And I want to read all of your comments. Alright, a kiss from your professor. Bye bye, bye bye.